Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Isshinryu M.A.T.S. Today is Thursday, March 28, 2024. It is now about 9:16 in the morning, Eastern Standard Time. We're here to talk about Thursday's topic, and that is kata, empty hand kata. Through the years, when you're taught your basic exercises and your basic kicks, those are the things that you practice throughout your tenure in martial arts, your basics. They give you a great opportunity to learn um, just how to practice them and how to apply them in your fighting, in your practice. When it comes to the empty hand katas, we refer to them as volumes of like encyclopedias. They're the movements put together by the founder that go in a sequence, and you practice those sequences individually as well as a whole. As for instance, let's say Seisan Kata. You may take the opening movement of the kata and practice that, for the rest of your life. And as you go through the kata, you can pull out sequences that you want to practice and get your distance and timing down. Obviously, do bag work and apply the techniques. We have these grappling tools that we use, and they're very instrumental on distributing weight. And that's very important when you fight. So, looking at these katas, these empty hand katas, we break them down into volumes of encyclopedias, if you will. We have 8 empty hand katas that we practice. Now, they tell me that the Seisan kata that they give us to start with is a black belt kata. So you might say, well, how do you start a beginner off with a black belt kata? Well, remember how I opened the program saying that the basic exercises that they give you, upper body and lower body exercises that they give you to practice, you're supposed to learn those basic exercises as well as you can as a beginner. And then when the kata, when sensei thinks that you're ready for the kata, you'll have the concepts and principles of how to apply the movements in the kata the Isshinryu way. So it's essential that when you come into the dojo as a beginner, you learn chart 1 and chart 2, um, again, as best as you can as a beginner. And you want those movements to be fluent in you, that if I say do number 5, it'll come to mind, you'll do it, and you won't have to think about it. It'll be, something that's natural to you. When you're at that point, I guess sensei feels that it's time for you to start working on Seisan Kata and putting sequences of movements together that apply to different things coming into your sphere, the area that you're asked to protect. Here I'll give you an example. This is a drum pad, and yeah, I'll put that's right. So since this is a round circle, what we do is we put you in the center, and now you have to protect all 4 quadrants. And when you break it up into very simple terms like that, since you are the center right here, anything that comes into this area can strike you. So it is your job to um, learn the movements that are given to you to do just that, protect the circle. And in the kata, they have you changing directions because of directions that things are coming from that originally you're not facing. So that's a wonderful thing because they teach you to um, learn how to protect, 360 degrees all around you. Um, Vision. In kata, they don't want a lot of this in kata, up and down. The judges feel that you should be able to operate your frame in a constant framework. Now, there are movements in the kata that will drop your center. So it's at that time that the judges understand that. But if you're going through your whole kata and your body, I'll say mechanics and behavior is such that you're using your center the way they're explaining it to me improperly. You should try to keep your center where it's very difficult for um, the weight to break your balance. You should always try to keep your body in a position, and that's why the basics teach you to operate in Seisan stance, Seiyuchin stance. Uh, there's a variety of stances that we have, but in the basics, those two stances, the way you transition from Seisan to Seiyuchin, it's very important because you have to show a sense of urgency. You have to protect against leg sweeps. You have to protect against leg strikes, where when you step, they try to hit your leg and knock you down. So it's very, very important that distance and timing is applied properly in the basics. So when you do the kata, one is you have an understanding of uh, that 360-degree area that you have to protect, thinking, and then the next is based on what's coming into that sphere, what part of the waza you're going to use. Now, in Seisan, the reason why they say it's a black belt kata is because there are exchanges in Seisan that are quite sophisticated in fighting. For instance, the block, double strike, kick, and punch. Those exchanges, you do three of them. And to us, a block is it's more of a strike when we go after something, such as whatever you're swinging or throwing, whatever's happening. We want to try to break it when it comes into that circle. So whatever you throw, whatever you're doing, we want to try to use the waza that's in the kata and not allow it to be used in the fight again. That's out of the fight now. So breaking a person's balance is what you learn when you're doing the kata. The stepping motion a lot of times is to try to capture the leg of an opponent and take them down, take them out of the fight. And when you do that, you could actually um, lock the knee joint by simply putting pressure and folding the knee and see what happens there. So the katas provide us with this amazing um, when you're looking for something, you're taking an open book test and you're looking for something, um, the katas, if you practice them well and almost um, use them as a means and methods to get through a workout. You know, but try to think of ways of using the movements that they give you, especially chart one and chart two, very basic movements. However, learn them well. And now when you do the kata looks sharp, crisp. Uh, you're focused on what you're doing. A lot of the judges say, no matter what lineage you're from and how you've learned the katas, when you do the katas, the judges can interpret whether you own the kata and make it your own, or you're just following a pattern of movements and thinking, this is what I have to do at this interval, which we all do. We all have to remember where we are in the kata, but it's some people practice kata so well that when they do it, you can tell that they have all the elements are present. Um, it's really amazing. But anyway, getting back to the curriculum and inside the kata, think of this now. Shimabuku Tatsuo Sensei learned other forms in his lifetime. So he gave us a version of Seisan that when you see it, you'll know it's from the Isshinryu curriculum because of the way it's done, the way it's built, and the architecture behind it. So he's taken a standard and built his own interpretation of that standard and called it Seisan. And then there was films made of him doing it so that we could have those as keepsakes to practice with. I don't know. It's very hard to explain on this platform how Isshinryu is defined in its concepts and principles. Thumb on top, um, vertical fist, just all of these things, or all of these nuances that Shimabuku Tatsuo Sensei put into effect and called it Isshinryu. They say that the Americans, when we say the name, that we don't say it properly because we don't. We say the R. We actually pronounce the R. So, pardon me for that. However, the fact remains that he built these katas and called them what he called them, and made us follow a predetermined routine that he handed to us through these first generation students and their grand black belts. That's how we got the katas. A lot of research was done back and forth from the time I started to today. Um, just information. We didn't have access to information back in those days because we don't have the tools that we have today. Okay, we'll make it simple. Back then, having a magazine that you could go to the newsstand and buy and read about certain things. Maybe go to the library and read books about, martial arts. It was about the extent of what we had. So when Isshinryu was delivered to us here in or on the East Coast of the United States, particularly in my case in New York, Northeast, we only had what Don Nagel brought home. That's it. We didn't have anything like we have today, where The terms are defined in both their writing and our writing, and just so much work has been done in the last 60 some odd years. And thanks to the effort of all of the grand black belts and their black belts and the black belts that came after them, they all contributed to the melding of all this information. So our kata is our Seisan kata is documented. We have you know we have certain first generation students that are still alive today that ensure that the katas are the integrity of the katas are being withheld throughout the ranks, and that's beautiful because they can acknowledge dojos that are giving every effort to uh, keep that standard of excellence alive in their dojos, because these Marines brought home a standard of excellence that was of very high esteem. I mean, everybody spoke very, very highly of the way the training, produced the results that it produced. I mean, there's no getting away from um, the students of the first generation practitioners, because the, the, it's in the books. What they've done is in the books. I mean, Harold G. Long Sensei. Um, we have the the Isshinryu Hall of Fame every year, and that is a vision he had of bringing the community together every year, celebrate the work of the founder and all the sensei, the students, the moms and dads, the aunts and uncles, grandparents, everybody who comes to the event to see their practitioner be recognized up on stage. The spirit of Isshinryu Award is something that's given out. Um, it was an award added to the venue by the founder, Harold G. Long. He thought that he would call out a person in Isshinryu that out of all the practitioners and all the people that are working so hard and so diligently, that this one person deserves to be recognized by the community because of the spirit that has been displayed in this individual. And then everyone who's ever won the Spirit of Isshinryu Award really thanks every practitioner, because it's their spirit that drives this spirit. So it's again, they had wonderful means and methods. They meant all the right things for their teacher, the founder, Shimabuku Tatsuo Sensei. So the first gens, their grand black belts, all the black belts that came after them, all get the Spirit of Isshinryu Award, because, you know, Sensei Long would not call out one individual over another. That's this one's better than that one. That's not what it was about. It was more about, you know, that spirit, that true spirit to learn the basics, practice the basics, learn the katas, practice the katas, and bring to fruition the dream of Shimabuku Tatsuo Sensei that he had. And it happens every day. I mean, I see youngsters doing Sun Tzu kata. That is a kata that our founder left us for a lifetime now. We have that for the rest of our life that he gave us. It's a gift from him. When they evaluated when the powers that be evaluated Isshinryu, and he showed what he built, they said, "You don't really need it." He said, "But I want it because it is something that will be practiced by generations to come." Part of his dream. So again, I find the story of Isshinryu and the katas of Isshinryu to be a stamp of work by our founder that I practice diligently for several reasons. One is I want to try to achieve the goals set by myself to be like an Advincula Sensei at 80 years old, to be like a Bartashevitz Sensei, and to be like a Smith Sensei. All of these first generation students, I mean, um, I know that Uezu Sensei has not been in the best health, but I do know this: he's still alive, and he's still, there for us to cherish, just like all of the first generation students are. I mean, they are the guardians of the curriculum. They brought it to us. So I just love to practice um, the curriculum and the entire syllabus because one is it's all documented. You can learn anything you want to learn now because we have so many senseis that know that anything you want to practice is available, whether it's through this platform or some other uh, one-on-one, person to person. Um, Again, we've learned to revere the katas because over time you realize that these gems were built by our founder and given to us to practice for all time. As long as it's documented and people have learned it and carry it on, um, it'll be something that in my lifetime I will have seen evolve from a very small, you know, group of Marines that came back to what it is today. Oh my God. I mean, some of the dojos that I go in, for instance, Dean Scott Sensei, you go in his dojo and the mat is full. There's people out there doing they're just practicing, they're doing everything. And then the sensei's on deck and he's working with the students and he's making suggestions as to how they should, apply this movement or that movement and showing them and teaching them. So it's a very gratifying thing to see now as an elder because, listen, I'm not going to be here forever. So while I am here to see that, and I'm nobody, so imagine the founder. Imagine if the founder was to see that, where he walks into a dojo in North Carolina, Apex, North Carolina, and sees, youngsters. I mean, youngsters like that are in school, elementary school, all the way up to people that have jobs like me, and families. He would look at that and he would have to say, these people are sacrificing their time to learn what I developed. For the founder, that would have to be very gratifying because, as you know, to devote time to anything else other than work today, because everything is so expensive, it's very difficult. And the founder would realize that these people are giving up their time that they could be working, and they're here practicing what I built. And again, that would be very gratifying for our founder. Now, in spirit, see, I know that in that realm, because Isshinryu has grown so much since its inception. Uh, Now that the founder has transitioned to the realm of the ancestors, when you know work out on the deck and you bow to him before you step on the deck, and you bow to him before you step off, and you show reverence and respect. Uh, I think that the realm of the ancestors shows favor. I don't know. I don't know how you believe, but I think that energy exists. I don't think it ever goes away in one form or another. So that electrical stamp that he had on his life, because since he's not here anymore, so that's, I know it's a picture, but it's who I bow to. So, but I never met him. I never was in his presence. My sensei was, but I was not. I never met him. He was alive while I was alive, but it, um, I never met him. And he died on the day I got married, many years earlier, but May 30th is the day I got married. I got married in 1982, but I celebrate that work when I put put my mind to working on the katas, and I set aside my time to climb the ladder and come back down. And in our dojo, that means you start at Seisan and you go all the way up to Sanchin. Pardon me a second, I just have to take this call. Go ahead, pal.
All right, I just got done doing the dishes and shit. I was just wondering, should I take my personal truck?
Well, we would normally be in Raleigh, so I guess you can take your truck because we all work. And I told Wayne we're going to be working on QMS and ACI.
All right.
So it's work.
Yeah, I was just figuring in case we wanted to take a ride somewhere, I could bring my person over. It's up to you.
Yeah, I don't have a car here. I'd have to use somebody's car. I use my company truck to go to work. See you later.
Bye.
So again, we have so many things that when you're around long enough in the arts, and it's not just the art that we practice. There's a lot of arts out there that are being practiced, and it's wonderful to see the results of the practice. That's all. That's what this program is really all about: showing the results of your doing your due diligence, coming to terms with uh, what's going to be your commitment. I mean, everyone, has to work and grow a family or take care of themselves. So, how much time can you devote to doing your practice? Um, I I work a lot, so doing bag work is one of my favorite things because you really get a great workout. And when you pull movements out of the katas and you execute them on the bag and get a little bit of resistance there, the workouts become intense. You really get to a point where you're huffing and puffing. Okay? And that's the best. That is the best medicine for the body. I'm going to be 65 in April. I don't take any medicines. I don't take any synthetics. I don't put any medicines in my body on a daily basis. No way. My medicine is food and exercise. It's the only medicine I get. And then with my schedule, I can't be on medicine. I can't. I have to be able to think clearly. I have to be able to think on my feet. My job is very demanding. Timing is everything on my job. Um, I have to stay healthy. I have to stay active in my work and my martial arts and my handball playing, my racquetball playing has um, done wonders for my legs because I use my legs a lot at work. Do a lot of walking, a lot of carrying of heavy stuff. So all of what I've learned in martial arts that I apply to my daily life, such as Sanchin, it's almost like your body um, works out all day while you're at work. So now when you come home and you do your workout, it's almost like you've been wearing a weight all day. You know how you put like a donut on a bat and you swing it, then you take the donut off, and now the bat feels nice and light? My sensei always told me you need to think light. You're too rooted to the ground. You have to be fast. You have to be agile. You got to be athletic. Your athleticism has to be applied to your waza. Now, I'm very athletic. I play handball constantly. I am a um, uh, I like to work my legs. That's my foundation. My foundation is my legs. So I got to work my legs. I work upwards from there, you know. So Sanchin, you know, with the medicine ball on my belly, you know, just constantly dropping that medicine ball on my belly and keeping those muscles. Um, used to, you know, like Sensei used to call it, you got to condition your muscles, especially your arms, shoulders. When you attack me, you know, I may duck down and shoulder you right in the belly, knock you, you know, right off of me like you know, like I would do when I did in football. Put your shoulder down, boom, and give him a nice shot with your shoulder. You know, it's a simple piece of waza, but highly, highly effective. I just watched a video put up by Sensei Calandra with Nick Adler Sensei uh, talking about the sweeps and how you control that foot movement. You know, when somebody lifts up their leg to try to either kick you or sweep you, what's available to you right there. Now, if you learn to attack the root leg, well, they got one leg off the ground, one leg on the ground. So if you attack the leg that's on the ground, what's going to happen? It's going to fall down. It's simple physics. So putting yourself in the right spot when somebody lifts their leg up high to kick you in the head, um, everybody goes backwards, you know, and tries to get away from that. But in our dojo, we're taught to attack the attack. That's how we're taught. You capture that and take out the root leg at the same time now. I'm in a position of advantage and you're at a disadvantage. Period. And that's just how that works. And I'm a big enough guy that you jump into my circle like that. Um, I don't want to give up my real estate, but if you jump into my circle, I want to take yours. I don't want you to have that real estate no more because you're encroaching on what I was taught to protect, evade and protect. So my sphere moves, and it moves like water. It always tries to find level. I was trained as a carpenter. I was in a local union when I was young. So they always made me find level. I could never do anything in that business without finding level. Even on a slope, I had to find level. So everything I did in martial arts taught me um, if I break your center and I get your joint, I'm probably going to be as successful as I want to be because I've compromised you now. Doesn't take very much to um, put enough pressure on your elbow joint to make you scream. Doesn't take much pressure on your neck, you know, to make you tap out and say stop. So um, it's funny. I watched the fight with uh, the Black Dragon, Ron Van Cleef, and Gracie Sensei, and it's amazing how weight and proper technique smothered that fight. Ron Van Cleef, the Black Dragon, came out. He threw a kick, and that was the last thing he did. Gracie Sensei captured that leg, took him down, laid on top of him, and for about 4 or 5 minutes, tired him out. He went to try to get out. He turned around and gave Gracie Sensei his neck, and within, I'd say, about a minute, maybe a minute and a half, Gracie Sensei tapped him out, choked him out. No blows exchanged, really that bad. There was some, knocking and banging around, but nothing that would, but yes, a simple choke. So we as it's funny, we as karateka, I believe, are inherent jujitsuans because all of our techniques, especially when you learn the kata now, a lot of jujitsu in there because it is the gentle art, jujitsu. So um, I think that um, when you practice these pieces of waza with an uki, and you learn that it really does have an effect on the human when you put a little pressure on them, and down they go. So you get a feel for just how powerful the technique is, especially when the harm is, behind the back and you're pushing it up and it can't go, it can't go no further. I mean, law enforcement uses it, very effectively. So, and so does the military. And I know that the waza, based on how it's applied and what it's used for, is very successful. Over time, it really rears his head, or rears its head when it comes to effectiveness. So, all right, folks. We've spent about 35 minutes talking. Um, I love the interaction we get on our radio program when it comes to subject like this because a lot of people do practice kata, and that's a wonderful thing because it is a gift, especially to the Western world. So we'll be back here quite frequently because we're very much into the dojo to dojo activity, going visiting, dojo to dojo. So I'm going to get back to work, maybe have a little lunch, and we'll see you. Thanks.